Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing my worst books of 2025. Now, typical YouTube disclaimer, these are my opinions. If you love these, then I'm super happy for you and you go right ahead loving them. These just didn't fit my taste, or I just wasn't in the great mood for them, or whatever the reason. Maybe I just, you know, I'm wrong. That happens. It's fine. But we're going to get started. I'm going to start with the books that I DNF'd and just get those out of the way really quickly. Some of these DNFs were things that I just wasn't in the mood for and I really need to try again. And then some of these I'm just like, I'm okay if I never try them again. Not a big deal. The first DNF of the year was super sad for me. It was Sharp's End by Joe Abercrombie. This is one where I will probably try again. I don't know what was happening with me. I just don't think I was in the mood for it. This is a novella in his first law series where we're following Glocta and West, I think. I don't know who else is in it. I didn't even read the synopsis. I just oh, it's first law. Let's read it. So that's kind of what happened. But I know that we were following Glocta, and I think that this is his before he becomes a prisoner. I think this is how he becomes a prisoner, that kind of story. I'm not the biggest fan of Glocta, so I think that that probably played a part in how much I wanted to read it. I think I just wanted to read it because it's Joe Abercrombie and I want to read everything he does. So, may try this one again, but if not, not a huge deal. The next book I DNF'd was Every Day in December. This one I DNF'd pretty quickly. I think I was maybe 2 chapters into the audiobook, and I just didn't care for the narration on the audiobook. And I could try the physical read, but I don't know that I care enough. This was like a Christmas romance where these two friends were falling in love in December. I don't even remember anymore at this point. Give me a second. I'll do my due diligence and look it up. Yeah, so we've got these two characters. One is super into Christmas and the other is total Grinch, and they have 31 days to fall in love while they're hanging out during the Christmas holidays. There's your synopsis. It sounds pretty interesting when I read the synopsis, but when I was listening to it, I just didn't care. So I quit. The next one I DNF'd was Five Brothers. This one I DNF'd a couple of pages in, and this one we're following this girl, and she's basically falling in love with these five brothers. And a poly romance doesn't really bother me, but I just didn't like this one. I wanted to DNF this on the first page, maybe second page, because of the fact that she was, I don't even know. It was a lot. And it was her interactions with this dude that picked her up on the side of the road and how they were interacting. And she was holding a knife to him to steal his money, that kind of thing. And then we go from that to meeting all of the brothers and all of the family at the same time. And so I think they're girlfriends or whatever. I don't know. It was a lot at once, or friends, girlfriends. I don't know. It was just too much within the first 20 pages. So I quit. The next one I DNF'd was pretty sad for me too, because this one is a YouTube darling and everyone seems to really love it. And I wanted to love it just because everybody hypes it up so much. And that book is Jade City. I think I listened to 25% of the audiobook. I did try to give it enough time to get going. And I didn't connect with Adrian. I think that was his name. It's this boy that we're following. And he is in this academy sort of thing to I don't know. It seemed like he was learning martial art type stuff. And his family is almost like these mobsters, and they're pretty high up in the pecking order. And they use Jade in order to enhance their powers and things like that, which sounds pretty cool. I just didn't connect with it, and so I quit this one too. And then I also quit The Word is Murder by Anthony Horowitz. I loved Anthony Horowitz growing up. I loved his Alex Rider series, and he had another series that he did where these young adults are connected and they end up finding each other all across the world, which was pretty cool. I loved that. This I did not love, and I went into this already not sure I was gonna like it. I was gonna try it because I love Anthony Horowitz. The synopsis of this was that Anthony Horowitz was a character himself in the book, and he was hanging out with this detective in order to learn how to be a detective in investigation and those kinds of things. That way, it would help him as an author. And I already didn't like that synopsis, but I was going to give it a try anyways. And then the audiobook narration killed me out. There was nothing wrong with it. It just sounds very, I guess, British. I don't know. I don't know the accents, like the nuances in the accents. So it could have been something else that's similar to British. I don't know. But it feels very like old timey, like Sherlock Holmesy time frame sort of thing. And it just pulls me right out of the story and I just can't do it. Which is crazy. I know. We've talked about it on the channel. I don't know what we're gonna do with me, but I quit that one too. The next book I DNF'd was Faking with Benefits, and this one, audiobook narration got me again. And and I didn't really like her interactions with the characters in this book, so it wasn't fully narration, but I was pressing through on the narration. I was trying to deal with it. But we're following this girl, and she is down on her luck in the relationship department, and she is not really been in a relationship, and she's like 30 and not had a serious relationship or any kind of relationship really. And so she recruits her friends who live across the hall to help teach her how to date and how to do it right. And they host a podcast. So they're going to use her as sort of material for their podcast in order to boost their ratings. You know, both sides win. Well, I just didn't like her interactions with everybody. They seemed really forced. And I don't know what it is, okay? So there are books on my best books of the year that are very crass. And it's fine. It doesn't bother me. In this book, when they were crass at all, I was just like, that's so cringy. Like, what are you doing? And so I gave this one up too. So I don't know. I'm just weird. And then the very last one that I DNF'd was By Any Other Name by Jodi Picoult. This one, I wouldn't care to finish it, but it's going to take so long for me to get the book back from Libby that I just don't care. It's been on hold for like a couple of months now, and I just don't care enough to wait. We are following this girl, Mel, and that's our current timeline. And her and her friend end up submitting her paper or her play. It's a play. They end up submitting it under a male's name in order to see if it performs better under a male's name. And it does. And so they're having to like hide the fact that she's a woman and they're dealing with all of like they're dealing with all of those societal norms and societal controversy with male versus female in the theater world, right? Meanwhile, we have a second timeline from Mel's ancestor. I don't remember her name, but we are following her as she is dealing with the fact that women can't really do a whole lot of writing either, and she is a writer. And so we're seeing it from two different timelines of the same concept, the same theme, I guess is a better way to describe it, and kind of seeing how it plays out in both sides. I didn't really much care for her ancestor. I mean, it was fine. It was kind of old timey, but she was she was a lover for a duke. So the duke had a wife, and our main character for this timeline was his lover, and she was kind of like a bought concubine sort of thing. Meanwhile, like she's falling in love with somebody else, and it was a lot. And I feel like we had a lot of storylines happening, and it just I don't know. It wasn't something that I loved. Okay, so that is all for the DNFs. Now we're gonna get into the 10 books that I picked to be my worst books of the year. Now, like I said before, if you love these, then great. Some of these I used to love. I do have a couple of like rereads on here that I was a bit more disappointed in on reread, and so they're on this list. Things that just didn't hit the mark that I was hoping for them to hit. That's why they're on this list. It's not necessarily that they were terrible books. I just didn't like them as much as I wanted. And so that's why they're here. The first one we're going to talk about is Dragon in Winter by Jonathan Mayberry. This is one that I was very disappointed about. I loved Kagan of the Damned. Like, Kagan of the Damned was one of my favorite books when I read it. I flew through it. We're following Kagan as he is dealing with the fact that his empire has been overtaken in a night. And he is a sworn soldier to protect these princes and these princesses, and they all get slaughtered while he's off duty. And so he spends several weeks just in a drunken stupor, just hating life. And then he decides that he's going to get revenge. And it is so much fun. I loved it. It was fantastic. We've got all kinds of things happening in this. We've got like vampires, and we've got lots of magic, and we've got um magic entering the world, and we just there are so many things in this. We have dragons in this. We have soldiers. We have betrayal and political intrigue. Like, it is so much fun. This third one just didn't hit the way I wanted it to. I didn't really like some of the perspectives that we were taking. We took a lot of perspectives in the first and second books, but in this third one, Dragon in Winter, I just don't know if they were necessary. Like, we had one perspective where we were in the perspective of a cat, just so that we could watch Kagan like enter the scene. Why? What was the point of that? I don't know. And so it just didn't hit the way I wanted it to. This next one is, this one I hated. And I will preface this with, when I read this book, I was not in a great headspace for romance novels at all. Okay. But this book is Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey, and I hated this one. We were following this dude, Wells Whitaker, and Josie. Josie is her name. But he calls her Belle because of a sign that she made. But so Wells is a golfer, and he is garbage when we meet him at the start of this story. He used to be really good, but all of a sudden he's kind of like lost his mojo for it. And he hates life. Absolutely hates it. He is so mean to everybody and just garbage of a human being. And we've got Josie, who loves him. She is his biggest fan. She loves golf. She knows golf really well. She owns a golf shop. And she has also made some really bad financial decisions. So, Wells has decided to take her on as his caddy on his golf tour in order to help her get some extra money. And he's going to use her to help get him through these golfing tournaments or whatever. I hate Wells. He is awful. He's a terrible, terrible, terrible human being. Okay? Awful. When we meet him, he is at a golf tournament, and Josie is there, and she's made this sign. And it says, like, Wells, Bell, or whatever. He breaks her sign. Like, just tears it up. Because he can. And because he's mad at the world. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Like, that is terrible. She didn't do anything to you. All she did was try to be your fan, and here you come and just ruin the hard work that she put into that when she is your only fan. Nobody likes you. She is the only one who likes you, and you're going to treat her that way. No, get out of here with that. That's stupid. And yeah, he can have a redemption arc or whatever, but you know what? He's not very nice to her when they go on the road together. Like, not very nice throughout the whole thing. And I don't understand why she likes him. I don't like him, and I don't think anybody else should. He's a trash panda. That's all I have to say. The next one on this list is on this list because when I was going through all the books that I read this year, I did not remember this book at all. I had no idea what this book was. I was like, I don't know what that is. It is One Perfect Couple. And this is one that I really enjoyed when I read it. But after a couple months, when I've read more thrillers, it just didn't stick in my brain. And so that's why it's here. We're following Lila and Nico. And Nico talks her into joining this reality TV show where they're going to go and be with other couples and kind of like mix and mingle couples and all these things. And it's supposed to help launch his acting career. Okay. Lila doesn't want to do it, but she wants to be a supportive girlfriend, so she does. And when they get to the island, things aren't what they seem. Things are very weird. And then there's a natural disaster. There's like a hurricane or whatever. And now people are dying. The crew is dying. We don't know what's happening. We can't talk to anybody. We don't have any cell phones, no nothing. We're stuck. And so they're dealing with that. And I had a great time with this when I read it. It just didn't stick in my brain very well. So it's got to go on this list. The next one on this list is The Push. Now, this one I was intrigued by, but I wanted more. It didn't hit the way I wanted it to hit. And that's why it's on this list. We're following this mom, and we are following her as she's with her husband and she's falling in love, and then she has a daughter. And we see her struggles with motherhood, which I can relate to. Like, no, I couldn't do it. So I really enjoy like that part of the story where we're seeing like her struggles with motherhood and all of those things. But as we get through the story, we're learning that the mom doesn't really connect with the daughter at all. The daughter connects with the dad like 100%, like they are best friends. Well, mom is very concerned that her daughter is intentionally hurting people, intentionally manipulating people, and even like intentionally like hurt her younger brother when he comes along out of jealousy and things like that. And so we don't know if the mom is just lost her mind or if the daughter really is truly doing these things, because the mom is the only one who sees these things. And like that's a really great premise. I was really excited to read it. I just I wanted more from it, and that's why it's on this list. I love the ending. The ending was great. I love an ending like that, but it was just kind of really slow. So here we are. The next one on this list is One of the Girls, and this one I just didn't like. I just didn't really connect with. We had too many characters going on. We were following like 5 different characters, which is fine. I read high fantasy. I can do that. But they all seem very similar. Like they didn't seem to be distinct enough. I don't know that we needed so many characters in this story. It was fine. We're following Lexi and her bridal party. They are doing like her bachelorette weekend, and I think they're in like Venice or something like that, somewhere fancy. And we're learning that they all have secrets, and I just don't know that we needed all of that. I loved their secrets. Like that was the only reason why I continued reading, is because I wanted to know like what all the secrets were. But I think it was just there were too many characters, too many things happening, too many perspectives like back to back, like, and they just weren't distinct enough. So I didn't enjoy it fully. The next one on this list is Night of the Mannequins. This one was just boring, and I just didn't really care. We're following this kid. He's a teenager, and him and his friends like to do these pranks. And so he ends up sneaking this mannequin into a movie theater. He's got it dressed up. You know, they even bought it a ticket and everything to play a prank on the workers at the movie theater. But then the mannequin starts coming to life, and our main character is trying to figure out how best to be a hero. And he doesn't make the greatest choices. Like his methods for being a hero aren't really heroic. And that's really all I can say, because it's super, super short. Like it might be 100 something pages. It's really short. And I just didn't connect with the main character. I just didn't care. I did like his voice when we started the story. I liked that. But I just didn't care. The next one on this list is Words of Radiance. This one was a reread for me, and it's on this list just because of the fact that I was really disappointed when I read it the second time. This was a book that I loved the first time around. I loved this so much. I loved the characters. I would laugh out loud. I would yell at my radio because characters were in danger. Like, I was all in on this story. And then on reread, I think it took me 8 months to read this book, maybe longer. It might have been 10, but it was definitely a good part of the year to get through this book just because I didn't want to read it. It was such a slog, and I just couldn't get through it. It's just too long. I like the characters. We've got some really great scenes in this. It's just too long, and for that, it has to go on this list. If you don't know, Words of Radiance is book 2 to Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive. This is going to be a 10-book series, and these books are like 1,200 pages. They are so long. but it's high epic fantasy. We are following Kaladin and Shallan and Dalinar as they are dealing with this world that they're in between like being a soldier and being a thief and being a slave. And we're following all the different perspectives of this world. And we get one flashback character per book. Words of Radiance is Shallan's backstory. So we get to see how she became who she is in her childhood and all the secrets that she's been hiding. And she has some secrets. Like she has a dark past, which is super cool and interesting. I love learning about her story. I just wanted less of this book. There's just too much happening. It's just too long. And so because of that, it's on this list. The next one on this list is Puck Me Secretly, and this is a Vancouver Wolves romance novel. This is the first in that companion series, and I don't know that I've ever not liked hockey romances, and there are two on this list. Two. Can you believe it? I love hockey romances. Look, I've got my Kings sweater on today. I'm a hockey romance girly. Like, I love my hockey romances, and there are two on this disappointing list. This one, we're following Rory and this guy, Max Logan, and Rory is the owner's daughter. Like, when I say the owner's daughter, I should probably explain what that is. So, Rory's dad, he owns this hockey team. He is the general manager. Well, Rory is his daughter, and she is on a plane with Max Logan. Logan is a hockey player. And she doesn't know this at the time, but the plane is going down. They are crashing. And so she ends up admitting that she hasn't done some pleasurable things with a man before while they're dying. Okay. And so he ends up taking care of her after the plane crashes. I mean, they end up surviving. It wasn't like that big a deal. And I mean, it was a big deal, but like it wasn't big enough that they died, right? Well, so they end up like bonding that night. And turns out Max Logan plays for her dad. He is a new recruit. He's just getting started and he's not looking to date. And Rory is trying to figure out her new job because she is severely underqualified for this job. She only gets it because she's related to the owner. And she's dealing with a lot of people who agree with that statement of you shouldn't be here, you're not qualified. And so she's dealing with a lot of those things outside of that. Max Logan is dealing with the fact that no one really wants to play with him because he has a bit of reputation for breaking this dude's face on his last team. And I didn't like this book because of the fact that I didn't much care for Rory and Logan. And I just didn't care for the fact that it seemed kind of high school. Like, he would get a phone call from a girl's name and she would get mad. You're not even dating. You're not dating him. And you're going to get mad. And you're not even going to ask him about it. You're just going to go silent for a couple of weeks and not even talk to him. You're not dating. I don't even know that they were like fully hooking up at this point. But she would get mad at him for talking to the others, for getting a phone call from a girl's name. You don't even know who that is. That could be a family member. That could be a friend. That could be his friend's wife and they're celebrating a birthday party. Like, you don't know. And you're going to get mad. So that got on my nerves because that would happen a ton of time, like too much. And so that just got on my nerves. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed that I didn't like this hockey romance. But the second hockey romance that I didn't like is Breaking the Ice by Julie Cross. This was the first time I had tried Julie Cross, and we were following Fletch and Haley. They are in summer school. Haley's in summer school because she was getting a low grade in a class, so she dropped it so she didn't get the low grade. So she's going to take summer school instead. Well, Fletch is taking summer school because of the fact that he is out of school a ton, and so he ends up having to do some extra classes in the summer, like not a huge deal. Well, they have been in classes together and they've been in school together or whatever, but they've never like talked or hung out. Well, summer school, they're thrown together. They get to talk a lot and they're actually partners on this project. Fletch is really smart and Haley comes across as that typical dumb blonde who's going to let him do the work for her, but she's like determined to not be that way. She does not want to coast in this class. She wants to actually learn something and pull her weight in the class. And so she basically forces Fletch to be her partner, like, doesn't stop until he's her partner. Like, she's just very persuasive and persistent and not in like the great way. Like, I don't know, she just comes off a little too strong, and she like admits that in the story that she comes off really strong. Fletch, we are dealing with the fact that he's got a lot of allergies, he can't really trust people. And this is the part where I did not like him and Haley, because they just met, like they just started talking, right? They're not even like talking, like they are like peers. And she's like, "Tell me your secrets. Like, why don't you trust me? You should trust me. You can't trust me, then we can't be friends." And he's like, "Butt out. Like, why are you asking all these questions?" And he just wants to be a loner. And she's like forcing herself to be his friend, or like forcing herself on him to be his friend, right? And he's constantly being like, "Butt out. Don't ask about that. Like, no, I'm not going to date you. I can't be a boyfriend, yada, yada, yada." And she gets mad at him because he's not doing what she wants, and because she can't know his secrets and he can't trust her with things. You don't know him. He doesn't know you. Why should he tell you all of his secrets? Why should he? He has no reason to tell you anything. And so that was annoying. And I've learned this year that I like a story with bigger stakes. I don't want it to just be about the romance. I need something more happening. And in this one, we've got a little bit extra happening. Like Haley is trying to figure out what she wants to do for college, and she's got to pass this class. And Fletch is dealing with him trying to earn a spot on the hockey team when he's been riding the bench all year, and now he's like, "No, I want to start." So we're dealing with like those kinds of things. With that's it. Like that's the stakes. Very low risk. Nothing really happening, and I just didn't care for this story. And then the last book on this list is My Sister's Keeper. This one is also a reread for me, and this one is on here just because it didn't hold up on reread, and so it's on this list. We're following Anna, and Anna is 13, and her sister has cancer, and Anna was born in order to be a donor for her sister. That's her whole purpose. Her sister got cancer when she was like 2, so her parents had another child in order to see if that child could be a donor for their sister, because their brother Jesse is not a donor. He isn't a match, so he can't help. And the parents can't help, and it's going to take too long to wait on outside donors, so they just had another child in order to have a donor that they can use all the time, right? Well, we follow a lot of perspectives in this story. We follow the mom and the dad and how they came to this decision to have Anna, and we follow Anna and her brother and the impact that this choice has made on Anna. And Anna has decided that she is going to file for emancipation. She wants more control over her own body, so that they can't tell her when to be a donor anymore. She gets to choose, because she's tired of it. She's been in and out of the hospital her entire life since she was born. Like, she came out of the womb donating to her sister. Like, it's all she's ever known. And so we see a lot of perspectives, and we get to see the conversation of what's the right choice here? What's the morality here of creating a child for the sole purpose to be a donor? And how do you, as a sibling, not continue to donate? Like, how do you choose that you're done? And as a parent, when you know that you could have another child and that child could potentially save your other child, how do you not do it? Like, it truly explores all of these things. And it's a great story. Like, it is a great story. It has a movie and everything. Like, it's a great story. It just didn't hold up on reread, and I needed a 10th book for this list. So here we are. It's a good book. It just wasn't what I remembered it being. And I think the last time I read this, I was in high school. So that was like 12, 15 years ago, something like that. So it's been a long time, and I remembered pieces of the story, but I didn't remember all of the story, and it just didn't hit the same way. And I mean, which is fine. Not everything's going to hit the same way on a reread. We saw that with Words of Radiance, but it's a bit disappointing. But yeah, so there's my 10 books that I didn't enjoy this year, plus what, 7 DNFs? Who knows? I didn't count those. What books did you not enjoy this year? Did you like any of these? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.